the majority of the media have already painted this as being, well, there's something wrong with this guy here. You don't know that.
Right.
You're assuming that. Big Sil's in the house again. Pinch hitting for Harry Mays. What's up, my man?
What's up, bro? And I'm Barrett Brooks. We got a little bit of the middle, man. There's a lot of middle talk. We need to get going right now, man. I mean, dude, I am so on the board of getting Deshaun Watson now. Just talking, with Xander heading into this show. I mean, I'm looking at the whole situation. If nobody else is doing anything, hell, why should we? Why should we? Why should we care about it? Come on, man. I mean, they could scream about the flagpole, bro. Make an example of them, but nobody's done anything. So to me, he let people violate him. So that's what he likes. I don't care. Can a man play football? That's all I want to know. Will they allow him to play football, man?
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. There's so much stuff that you know, Barrett, the one thing about the NFL, today it's a 24/7, 12-month a year conversation. It dominates the sports page. You know what the NFL has done such a great job with is that the water cooler talk. Yes. You know, games on Sunday, Thursday, Sunday night, Monday night. Again, that used to be back in our time. That's when it was. And then the rest of the week was for other sports to kind of fill the sports page. Now you have Aaron Rodgers. You have Antonio Brown. You have all kinds of stories. Free agency coming up. By the way, I think today, if I'm not mistaken, today's the first day you can franchise tag an NFL player, and I think you have all the way up. Yeah, I think you have all the way up until the 8th to do all of this stuff. So again, man, I mean, that's the one thing that the National Football League has done. Barrett is done. They've done such a great job of dominating the sports page.
They maximize their potential to take every single calendar day of the year and make it a football day. You know what I mean? Just like this transitional tag, the franchise tag, all this stuff makes a lot of sense because us as fans, we want to talk about it. We want to hear about it. We want to know what's really going on. You know what I mean? Let's make it happen, bro. Let's make it happen.
I threw this out on my afternoon show, the National Football Show the other day. Let me throw this at you here. If you went after Davante Adams, put him on your team. We kind of broached this a little bit yesterday too. You put him on the Eagles. Doesn't that make you do this? If you're some of these other big-time quarterbacks out there, potentially Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, wouldn't that make you do this? Yeah, man. Philly's got Devontae Smith, Davante Adams. I'll tell you what, man. Offensive line is one of the top 3 units in the NFL. They're a football team that's in the NFC. The NFC is not like the AFC. With all those great quarterbacks and all those great teams. I mean, look, as much as people talk about Aaron Rodgers potentially going to, another football team, he ain't going to want to go to the AFC. He's not going to want to go. Why would I want to go play Patrick Mahomes twice? Justin Herbert, hell, even Derek Carr's in that conference and in that division. Why would I want to go and do that when I could go to the NFC? Because, look, Brady's out. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, and as of right now, Russell Wilson. That's not the biggest hill to climb if I'm in the NFC. So to me, now look, I don't think the Packers would want to keep him in the NFC if they end up moving him because they still have years on his deal. But my point is, you can attract. Howie has to make this football team attractive. For not only just a quarterback to want to come here, but how about this too, Barrett? I mean, an offensive lineman, a running back, other wide receivers. This football team, as much as we talk about the Eagles being deficient at the quarterback position, to some, they're deficient at the wide receiver position. I don't really think they have a bell cow running back. I think Miles Sanders is good.
I don't think
but
that
I think
you're
he's
right.
a dude.
They don't do that. They don't specify who their lead back is. Like, they don't even think of a lead back. They have situational backs, which makes it great for a guy to come in like Howard. Howard came in and became a franchise piece by being a 3rd and 1 guy, 4th and 3, goal line situation guy. I mean, he made a living, off just doing that. So that kind of put, that put, Miles Sanders on, all right, Miles Sanders gets hurt a lot. He's not a big back. He kind of likes to run to the outside instead of sticking his nose up in there. It makes an attractive place for another back to come in and play behind that offensive line. You're absolutely right, bro. They want to do that. And if you want to be a destination place for receivers or, even a quarterback, you have to balance things up. Right now, they are just trench heavy. They are trench heavy, on the offense.
You have identified and you gave the identity right now to the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. That is so great because I don't think people understand that. You're right. When you're a free agent and you have options to go somewhere, when I look at Philadelphia right now, hey, if I'm an O-lineman, I'm in. Okay. Right. But then again, if I'm an O-lineman, I'm going to look at it and go, because Barrett, people don't understand the incentives that are in the contracts of offensive linemen. If I'm an offensive lineman, I'm going to go like this. Is that quarterback going to get me in the top 10 so I can get my incentive offensively? Are we going to be in the top 10 for rushing? Are we going to be in the top 10 for passing? Because what people don't understand, offensive linemen are paid on team statistics.
Yes.
They'll have you don't give up sacks, pancakes, what have you, because I posted something on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show a couple weeks ago. I got a $45,000 incentive, and I put that out there. This was like back in '87. I got a $45,000 incentive. You know what it was for?
What's that?
Just for me working out in Tampa and staying in town, and me working out in town.
A workout bonus, yep.
That was just a workout bonus that I got that was in my contract. I'm a D lineman. I'm gauged on sacks, maybe TFLs, rushing the passer. O-linemen have to go to places that, and by the way, postseason, making it to the postseason, there's another incentive in there. So you've got to make this a destination, like you said. Is Philadelphia a free agent destination? Look, the fan base is great. The stadium's great. You're in a great division. But if you're a potential free agent, and free agency starts March 1st, do you want to look at Philly as one of your top options? Does Howie – I look at Howie and I go like this. Look, Darius Slay, all the draft picks, the money under the cap, the 3 first-rounders, they've got a lot of things on their side except quarterback. They haven't addressed it in a year. And you've got to make me want to go like this. If I'm one of the top 3 guys that's going to be at a particular position in free agency, you got to make me want to do this. Man, Philly's a destination.
I'm going to tell you the truth. Howie has made it attractive to free agents because, in all actuality, he's been a man of his word. He has guys come in on these 1-year deals, 1-year prove-it deals. He got Alshon Jeffrey. He got Timmy Jernigan. He got a bunch of guys that already promised him, hey, if you come in and you show that you want to play for this team and you want to, and you're effective on this team, I'll sign you to a long-term deal. And every single time he's done it, he's signed him to a long-term deal. So Howie, he's as good as gold with a lot of these free agents. And plus, when you get here, it's hard for you to leave because he's going to either redo your deal, spread it out a little bit. So in that capacity, he is a guy that, they're going to want to come play for. He's not like, regular GMs. If he gets you here, he'll take care of you. He'll make you stay longer than you even want to stay. He'll put you in a position where he'll pad the amount of years you're here to keep you here. Probably longer than you should be here, but they need to win now, man. All that, spreading these contracts out like Fletcher Cox and the deal he has and extending him like that. I mean, even Kelsey, he's got those guys to stay here from elongating their deals, put them in a position where their bonuses kick in and all that stuff. So, I mean, it could be a destination point for an older player, and he's done that several times.
How about this? Okay, so you want Watson?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. Does the 22 accusations against him? How will that look? Philadelphia handled Michael Vick, and see, I use that as a benchmark.
Yes.
I mean, this guy went to Leavenworth for 18 months. This guy was pressing license plates, and
that's real. That's Fed time, bro. That's real time. Yeah,
that's federal prison.
Yeah,
he was in federal prison for what he did with those dogs. Okay, Philadelphia brought him in, and they embraced him.
Yes, they did.
And I'll tell you what, man. I am an animal lover. I love animals, but I'll tell you what, I have sort of been in contact with Vic over the couple of years, and I got to tell you, I'm a fan of Michael Vick right now, of him trying to improve his life and get his life on the right track. I believe in redemption.
Yep.
I believe that you can rehabilitate yourself. Now, will people forget that? Absolutely not, because that's part of your resume. And that's part of your history. I don't like when revisionists come in and try to revise history. This is part like when people are knocking statues down. That's America's history, good or bad. Good or bad. That's the history of what this country was, and that's the history of what Michael Vick was. So to me, I'm not a guy that goes in, you always remember that. However, I think there's always a new starting point in people's lives. So
it has to be.
I had Dabo Sweeney on a few months ago, and Dabo Sweeney and I had a conversation off the air, and I said, what do you make of Deshaun? He's like, he's a great kid. And here's a guy that was around him for 4 years.
Yep.
And said that this kid here, and Barrett, isn't the whole thing exceptionally fishy that all of a sudden he wants out, those stories come out?
There's no question
they had
that.
just signed him to a $180 million contract.
Right. It's not fishy. It's exactly what they wanted it to happen. But I'm going to tell you this. I interviewed him the year he was going into the league. And when I interviewed him, I was with NFL Films at the time, you could tell this kid was a great kid. Now, behind closed doors, everybody has their demons.
Oh, yes.
Everybody has, their twerks. You know what I'm saying? He likes digital stimulation. He's got to find somebody else to do that. You can't make anybody do it. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Don't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. But at the end of the day, if there was some ironclad, concrete, anything to this case, he'd be in jail right now because
Correct.
Houston, their police would have locked him up, feds, everything else, to make an example out of him. And evidently...
like Vic.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? They would have torn the bricks down and had him rebuild the bricks in prison. You know what I'm saying? They would have done that. So evidently... there's something else going on right now. So it leads me to believe that he's going to be in a situation. He's going to get traded this offseason. And whatever team he ends up at, he's probably going to get a suspension no more than like 10 games. Now, 10 games will be the most. Why wouldn't that be appetizing for the Eagles? They'll 10 weeks to get, a great backup quarterback and Jalen Hurts back on track and get him where he needs to be. And have a solid backup, and then you have, him go on, and Deshaun Watson takes us from there.
Listen. I have said this from day one. I think the reason that the FBI was brought in is because I think some of those cases he's being extorted.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I don't have a problem saying that because of what you just said and what really, Lonzo Harris is one of my favorite fictional cops of all time from Training Day. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Right.
Okay. And to me, this goes right down that line. Like you said, 22 sexual assault cases. Call them rape if you want, call them whatever. You're trying to tell me that a district attorney who is a political person who's not trying to get points would say, I got Deshaun Watson's, I got him good. I got all the goods here, and we're going to put this guy front and center. And get this. Then, what's the one thing, Barrett, that's in all of our contracts? Conduct detrimental to the team.
Yep.
Do you know what all that means, folks? That means this. They can fire you with cause, and they don't have to pay you but your last paycheck. All that money, man. out the window. But the Texans never did that because there's something in here. The FBI was brought in with the Bubba Wallace stuff down at Talladega because of hate crimes, potential hate crimes because of the noose. Anytime the FBI is brought in, they're brought in for civil rights violations.
Yep.
And that's what the FBI was brought into this here. Now, look, could there be some of these cases? According to some reports yesterday, he is going to get the ability now to get in front of a judge and talk about 9 of those cases, Barrett. And that came out yesterday afternoon.
Wow, see?
He's going to be able to address 9 of those 22 cases. And the judge wants it too. Rusty Hardin, his attorney, they want to do it too. They want to get in front of a judge and talk about 9 of these cases. So late afternoon yesterday, he's going to be able to address it. And I think it's great right before free agency.
It's going to put him in a position where he can, look at these people and tell them what really went on, as opposed to, it's 2 sides to every story.
Of course.
Why not let him
the
get
truth
his
is
side
somewhere
out?
in the middle.
Exactly. You're not saying everything's right, everything's wrong. What he does behind closed doors, that's on him. Just as long as whoever he's doing it with is game. If they're good with it, then why would it? But I think really, man, it is a money grab for the most part. Not all 22 is him forcing somebody to do something. Now, if he did, throw the book at him. Throw him underneath
But it's
the
civil.
jail.
But they're civil cases.
Exactly. So once you make somebody do something like that, that means that it's you're really doing something that's against the law. So at that point, it leaves civil and becomes criminal. So why are there any criminal cases in it right now?
That's right. And see, Barrett, that is, and look, we're playing like broadcast lawyers here, but we're just going by the facts of what people have put out there. If there were 22 criminal cases against him, I'd be like this. I don't know. I'm not putting first rounders up.
Exactly.
This stuff is civil. That means this. Get this. If you're so violated, you're going after the dude's wallet first. It's usually the wallet second. Even in the OJ case, it was the wallet second when they went after OJ. The criminal case came first. This just seems there's so much unanswered questions there. And you know what happens when we have unanswered questions? The narrative will get out there and the media will go, well, this guy's a scumbag. This guy here is a criminal. The majority of the media have already painted this as being, well, there's something wrong with this guy here. You don't know that.
Right.
You're assuming that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Big Sil, I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. And just like JAKIB said, hey, I don't see 22 ladies lying. I mean, not all 22 may be lying. Maybe there are a couple that are, but
how about their version is different?
Right, but at the end of the day, if I leave all that behind and he can play, and they say yes, he can play, and he's eligible to play, I want him to wear eagle green. I'm making no.
How much would you give up for him?
I give him two first rounders this year and a first rounder next year.
You know what? I asked Jimmy Johnson if he thought that'd be enough. He went, no way.
Well, I know it's going to have to have a 4, a 3 over here, a 2 over here. Remember what the Ricky Williams got to go to the Saints?
The entire draft.
All 10 picks. All 10 picks for one guy. Is Deshaun Watson worth it? When you get a quarterback like Deshaun, he can be worth it. He crosses all the check marks, that you want in a quarterback on a team.
And he's young.
Yeah, and he's young. He checks all of them. He's young, athletic, strong arm, has won before, had the ability to lead the team. Guys in the locker room like him. He'd be a great pick here being Philadelphia. And Philly is probably one of the only towns that could get away with bringing him in and having a fan base back him up. You know what I'm saying? The fan base here would back him up.
Somebody brought this number up, 3 1s, the 41st pick, and Jalen.
3 1s.
The 41st and the second, Jalen. Because what? Watch this.
I would do it.
But here, and I would too. And I'll tell you what, watch this. Let's go down the list here. I want to show you something here, Barrett, on the marketplace it's going to be for him. We kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday too. A 51st in the second. That's what it is. Not 41. It's 51st. Watch this. Do the Dolphins need a quarterback? Yes. Do the Bucks need one? Yes. Panthers.
Yes.
Saints.
Yes.
Broncos.
Yes.
Vikings.
Yes.
Let's see here.
Washington. Yes.
Washington.
Giants. Yes.
Giants.
Going down the line.
You think the Titans need one?
Yes.
Titans.
And we don't know what's going on in with Green Bay
or
Arizona,
San Fran.
Yep. We don't know what's going on there.
I've got right here. Check this out.
The Browns?
The Browns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 10 teams just off the top of our head. Okay? My point is going to be half the league. Half the league. Okay? Here, Chicago.
Yep.
Sure. I'm not sold on that kid up there.
Fields, nope.
Detroit.
They definitely
Indy?
They're looking right now. And Indy, yep. That's over half the league.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Dude, we're going to have at least 15 teams that are going to want to go after him. That's a marketplace.
Yes.
So if the Eagles are going to be truly, and you got to put the Eagles in there, okay? If the Eagles are truly going to be in this conversation, they're going to have to, this is going to be a bidding war for this guy. And I'm telling you, Barrett, I think the league and I think the Players Association and I think his attorneys are going to look at it and said, it was a retro suspension from a year ago. He didn't play any game. He sat out the entire year. Okay? To me, that's a self-imposed. And if you have to look at the league and you look at Goodell, well, he sat out the entire. You could sell that to somebody.
Oh,
you could sell that to the public. He didn't play last year. He was suspended.
The streams at. What about Pittsburgh?
So half the league. This is why I say 3 1s, 51, and Jalen is what it's going to take to get this guy. If you're Howie, somebody brought this trade up yesterday with me. That's the number I think that it's going to take to outbid Carolina, outbid the Giants. The Giants have 2 picks, Barrett, inside the top 10.
Yep.
And you know the Giants are going to be in this conversation to go get him. And by the way, the public perception on him is going to be irrelevant to these teams because after what they saw with the playoffs, correct?
Exactly.
It's going to be irrelevant.
Exactly. We haven't seen it in about a year and a half, but we forget how dynamic Deshaun Watson is. How good of a player he is. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's a top 10. He's a top 10 quarterback right now, even after being off a year.
I'm not concerned with the time off.
Right? No, I mean,
actually, that may have healed him up a little bit too because he took a beating the year before.
Exactly.
You know, that leads me into this here, and you tell me when you and I came into the league, the number one way to build a football team was through the NFL draft. And this year, the Eagles have a great treasure chest of draft picks, 11, 3 in the top round. We all know this already, that it's a massive amount of draft choices. You know, one thing that's really proven to me the last 2 years, maybe that's the old way of building a championship team. Look what the Bucks did. The Bucks had a 7-9 football team. What'd they do? They made an upgraded quarterback. They got Tom Brady. They brought in Gronkowski. They brought in Leonard Fournette. They brought in AB. They started bringing in other guys. They had a core group of dudes there already. So
right.
I understand that. But then look
what
the Rams did.
All those guys, you know, they had the core, but they brought in freight. Look at what Cincinnati did. Cincinnati did the same thing. How many games they won the year before?
2.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So now you bring in some key free like Hendricks from New Orleans, comes up there, becomes their pass rusher. They already have some guys there. then those guys start recruiting. Hey, you need to come play with this young quarterback. Come play with this young quarterback. That way, it becomes a destination point for other free agents to come. They're going to want to come. Then you don't have to worry about bringing guys in. Same thing happened with Carson. Hey, Alshon, you need to come with this young quarterback. This young quarterback is good. Come play for him. That's what you do, man. You get others to start bringing others in. Cincinnati went out and had their safety bringing in a bunch of guys. Man, you got to play for this young quarterback, which allowed them to get good very quick. Look what the Rams did. Right. The Rams went out there and traded and brought guys in just knowing that their core group was already solid. Now guys want to play there. I mean, the fact that they got Odell Beckham Jr. to come here as a free agent, and Von Miller, as a free agent, is crazy.
How about this though? And Barrett, where I'm going is this: isn't it today? Because look, the Rams, if they had our assets, the Eagles' assets, Kevin Demoff and Les Snead would push all that in because they have shown it. I can't think the next time the Rams have a first-round draft pick. Exactly. I mean, they have pushed all that in, and it resulted in a championship this year. Is that the new way of building a championship football team? Because our way of thinking, I think sometimes things have to be adjusted because you and I know this. The Steelers go through the draft. That's who they are. Jimmy Johnson built that dynasty in Dallas through the draft, brought in Haley, added a couple guys into the cracks where they needed to put some pieces in there. Yep. All them kind of guys, absolutely. But today, maybe, Barrett, because free agency has become bigger than when you and I, because remember when you and I came out into the draft, man, I mean, I think the last guy to get a gigantic deal out of college was Sam Bradford, where he got that $57
He was the last one. Yep, he was the last one.
He was the last one, but because the players always thought, and everybody did, think that was ass backwards. These are unproven guys getting the majority and the bulk of that money. They've kind of flipped that model, and free agency now, you're able to go out and you're able to get, instead of 35-year-old guys, you're getting 28-year-old guys, 27-year-old guys. My point is, don't you think if you're the Eagles, you go by the Rams model? I mean, look, I know Howie likes to be a TV star on draft day. Binoculars and all that shit. Yeah, I get it. But doesn't it make more sense? Wouldn't you look more like a superstar if you went like this? Man, let's just put the chips on the table. And by the way, with your fan base too, if I sat back and went like this, shit, man, Howie made a play for the kid. He pushed his chips in. And no, this is not, if you're Jalen Hurts, this is no disrespect to you, kid.
No.
You're upgrading. No one's throwing shade on him because, look, if I'm replacing Jalen, I'm replacing Jalen with someone like that.
Yep. Well, I'm going to tell you this also. Because Howie has been so inept in the majority of his draft picks before this draft, I mean, wouldn't you think, as a fan base, it'd be easier for him to go out and trade as opposed to drafting somebody.
For a proven dude.
Exactly. Somebody they've seen before as opposed to going out, and I mean, I hate that Jalen Reagor's been put in this position. But, in a sense, you're in the NFL. You got to play. You get paid to play. You got to play up to expectations. And I know it's hard, but at the end of the day, if you don't play, they're going to get you out of there. If I didn't play up to expectations, I was out of there. Same thing with him. So you see Jeffries balling the way he's balling. That's an indictment on Howie Roseman making the wrong decision and picking up Jalen Reagor as opposed to picking up Jefferson, who just balled out of control.
You're always going to be gauged next to that kid in Minnesota.
Exactly. So
when the quarterbacks come out, Barrett, and they come out in the same draft, you like the 04 draft with Eli and Phillip. And with
Ben Roethlisberger,
those three dudes in that draft will always be gauged by who had the better career. Of course, it's Ben, never had a losing year in 18 years, won 2 Super Bowls. I know Eli won 2.
Played at 3.
Yep, I went to 3. So I always think that Ben had the better career. who was maybe the better quarterback? Could have been Rivers. I don't know. I mean, Rivers he was more of a modern day kind of Dan Marino, kind of was more of a guy who would take chances. But those three guys will always be gauged, right? Offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers. Everyone is always gauged by the draft that you're taking in. And he'll always be looked at as, well, the guy in Minnesota's kicking ass. You're not.
Right, exactly. That's what it is. I mean, even with me in my draft, I was a top 3 offensive lineman. You know, if you look at it, I was gauged Tony Baselli, Reuben Brown, you know, all those guys, you know, were gauged. Now, I didn't have the careers those guys had. I played just as long as they did, but those guys were Pro Bowlers. But still, I didn't have the career that they had. So Baselli and them, that's who they're gauging me off of. Same way with these other quarterbacks. I mean, same way with these, you know, defensive ends. You know, Mike Mamula will always be gauged against Warren Sapp because they were, you know, almost back-to-back picks. They right there, and Mamula went before Sapp, and Sapp ends up being a Hall of Famer. That's just the nature of the beast. You know what I'm saying? That's how you're going to get graded. That's how you know you're going to be put, you know, in your space where you are in the NFL. You're getting gauged by that space, by those picks. So live up to it. Live up to it, you know.
You know what, though? I say this in your defense, though. Okay, when you're a second rounder and you've got an all-pro in front of you or you've got someone there, for whatever reason, you know, the NFL has a class issue.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is that, you know, the only place that doesn't play a factor in has got to be New England. He doesn't care if you're undrafted or if you're a 6th or 7th rounder or you're a first rounder. He's going to play the best guy. I would say this, Barrett, 95% of the teams that are in the NFL, if you're a high draft choice, you're always going to get the latitude and the benefit of the doubt. Or if you're somebody that's considered a first-round draft choice, you're always going to get more reps in practice. And that coach, because you know why? He's got dudes upstairs
exactly
that he has to appease because you know why? Watch this. If a coach starts playing, say a free agent offensive lineman over Barrett, starts playing a free agent offensive lineman, Barrett's a second rounder. Guys upstairs are going to go, what the fuck's going on here, man? I mean, we evaluated him. They're going to look at the coach down there and go, this guy's not evaluating the player that we evaluated. I don't think people realize how much time and resources go into each and every single one of these drafts.
No clue.
It's not just doing this. With the 51st pick, we picked Joe Blow from Helen Keller University. They just don't do that.
No.
There's money, resources, people's reputations.
Guys get fired. Guys will get fired over saying this guy's pretty good, and he ends up being a flop. So yes, you are tied. Howie is tied still to Donnell Pumphrys, the running back from San Diego State. You know, since he went to Marshall, you know,
Donnell Pumphrey.
Yeah, Marshall Falk went there.
Yeah.
He went in and broke all Marshall Falk's records.
Yeah, Rashad Penny too. Penny.
So you look at him looking like, all right, so he should be good. The kid never touched the field.
Yeah.
And got drafted in the 4th round. Never touched the field.
He had 6,000 rushing yards in college. I watched him, and I'm sitting here going, and then when I saw that, that's funny you say that because I watched him. I think he broke Ron Dane's all-time rushing record. He had over 6,000 rushing yards. So guess what became a fad? Okay, getting San Diego State running back. So what they do, they go and they get the kid Rashad Penny in Seattle. He has sucked for the last 3 years, okay? Just because you had Marshall Falk at that school,
right?
That doesn't necessarily mean that you have a championship pedigree of running backs back there that can make it to the next level. All right, okay, we got to take a time out here. I got something else I want to bang off of Barrett here when it comes to the quarterback position. I heard something from someone's agent last night, and it's all around Cam Newton. Barrett, I think you may like this or you may not like this. Back in 3, keep it here on The Middle.